Hello, everybody. We are back again in mini proposal workshop, and today we have a somewhat special edition where Prabhul joined us, who is from Daolens, and with Curtis Myers from Insight IQ, who has been almost all the mini proposal workshops to refine a proposal to create tooling for decentralized communities. So we have now like three strategies. One was split proposal into smaller components, so that we kind of did, and but still keep in mind that we will have a high-level proposal. So we can somewhat doing like two proposals once. One is peak vision, and at the same time, like one component with more details are under that. Another strategy was, which came this week, was connecting with Daolens, because we see that you also have an open source platform, and now you're actually implemented AI features on that, pulling data from that platform. So it already kind of has these elements what this main solution would require. And you can see the potential, like perhaps collaborating cross-community to build on top of Daolens. And final was like target specific client to support with documentation automation. So targeting the community collaboration and take a specific team or specific like decentralized group that is already DAO and fully immerse to solve their needs first, and then basically step by step work towards an AI solution that can be used as a proof of concept. So yeah, this is as much from the like a solution side, and yeah, waiting for feedback from you, what you think so far. Is the direction going? Is there a component that we are missing to provide this kind of solution? And what would your opinion be, where to start from? And also from your side, where you think the Daolens could fit into, and would it be simple to integrate, and what yeah, like in generally, how do you feel about this strategy?
For now, what I feel is that I need to go through each of this workflow step by step. It is too fast for me to understand it in one go at the moment. So I'm just taking it slow. So yeah.
Well, I can help you on that. So from my perspective, when we looked at the Daolens main platform, I see it as a dashboard. So a site that is like a front end for all the users, and where
Correct.
you organize the data and you visualize context, and a place where you can export the data to their own tools, so the people can just export it. Right now, I think you're missing the export button, but that's not an issue. I'm just describing what the dashboard element should have. I'm unclear yet how the data sharing is like completed on your side, but if you have already some like permission plans, or like, and is it like token based, or is it like centralized server based, and on how it's created, and like this is unclear how we will do that. But yeah, but that we hope that the dashboard side will kind of like include that that how the permissions are shared and who can access the main page of an organization, for example.
I think
And
that is currently there, but it needs more user friendliness at the moment, because currently you can get the dashboard based on any certain token or any specific user or member. But yes, it needs to be more elaborate to make sense in this perspective. Yeah.
however, for like a proof of concept, I think the dashboard is somewhat would be ready. Another tech is like import data into dashboard. So basically, I noticed you had some integrations there. One was Discord, one was Discourse, and two more. And from
Snapshot.
yeah, and then from our side, or like when we ideated on these, what kind of integrations people would need, then there was a heat map of like Discord integration and Zoom integration. And here was a bit more all over the place. So Zoom and Discord, which one you already have, and another one is Zoom to be able to like get these video files and be like have an ability that right now, as we discussed, there is a way to, I guess maybe live stream is a bit more impossible, but in future, like to get information from bot while we have these kinds of discussions.
Yes, yes. We are kind of working on some of these integrations, out of which we are kind of working on GitHub integration, but we haven't figured out what kind of information is relevant to users. And other is that Google Sheet is something, yes. Zoom integration, we have thought of it, but not yet installed. Notion, we were looking at their API doc, but it is technically not feasible from Notion side as they don't allow it from their side. But let's see what comes in near future if they kind of make something open for us to integrate in that sense, the way you're saying. So most definitely, we are looking on all those parts for sure. And would love to understand what you mean by, let's say that if you want to have Miro board integration, it will be more like you just need to show these flows within our workspace, or you want to create some kind of quick sharing or tag kind of thing. Like if you put this URL link, people can go to specific part of this Miro board. Is that something you're
No,
suggesting?
no, that's actually from the Miro integration side. My own specific need would be actually to simply, oh, I just clicked the bad button, but like just and have a full export, because CSV, when I take out this as a CSV file, I just get unorganized data. However, if you pull out like a JSON file from Miro, it has all the coordinates of these sticky notes. If it has any links to any other like the full chaos information. So just JSON file stored in behind somewhere in the dashboard database, so that if I would need to pull out Miro JSON file, I don't have to figure out myself how do I integrate with API and pull it. I could go to this dashboard, click that I want to access Miro integration, and then it automatically creates me a token, creates me access if I put my credentials in. And with like another button, I could select between all the Miro boards I have access to, and then simply be able to kind of pull the JSON file of all the information. But mainly what it's used for, all of these integration, mainly what are used for is just a data storage, and that AI will come through and get insights from.
Interesting. And this Catalyst proposal platform, I think it's Idea Scale. That is something that Cardano and you are using for proposal management, or is it some different tool? The proposal part.
Yeah, you're right. Idea Scale are to put up proposals to the community. It is Idea Scale is used for that, at least so far, and probably in upcoming this year.
Okay. And the voting happens within Idea Scale, or just
No,
like
that is
Cardano, you have a separate.
this is a separate service provided by IOG. Right now, and not sure when other platforms are also able to vote, but right now it's only one application.
Does it make sense to have an integration with, let's say, the voting application just like snapshot, where people
No,
can vote within this only? No?
first of all, they don't have the way to integrate. Second, the all the votes and all that stuff is on private. It's like a side chain of IoG, and it's private. So you will need like a special permission. And that is not really like, yeah,
A
not
big
really
problem to
needed
change.
information. This has nothing to do with this AI. Like you can get that information for AI using the export files, because we have Excels of all the voting results. We now have a lot of markdown data about different proposals, and the idea would be simply to just get the document, upload it into the dashboard, and that through that dashboard it was able to kind of store it in a database in a format that AI can learn from that or can use it.
Understood. Understood. Now it makes sense. Yes, sir. Okay. And in Figma integration will be simple. It's just like a design, and that is something exported design that you're suggesting, or yeah, it will be like clickable kind of integration that you're saying.
I have no clue. I will assume Figma is used in similar purposes as Miro board, some visual representation and doing brainstorming.
It can be used like Miro board, Figma. If you want, you can use it like that also. But we
However,
have
with the
mainly
proof
used
of
it for,
concept on this case,
yeah.
we start with like the main integration, what was heat map and so if we have one integration, it's already good enough. We don't have to look to integrate all of that, and we basically took one solution at a time. So it's not like we have to have all of that. We just we choose one, and so far it kind of has some vision that Discord and Zoom are the like main areas where you can find a lot of like information. If it's easy, of course, to get this integration and put it just into database, then yeah, doesn't matter. And
So
all of this
one,
integration is just one part of this dashboard, import data. And then we get into the
so
point of,
so I was just thinking that uh, importing data on the dashboard makes sense, but where exactly this Google Sheet integration or other integrations will be placed? Like, let's say that you create a post where you will say that this is the JSON file that, and you will provide some kind of context around this Miro board, or how exactly you will train it. Uh, I think I should have my engineer take a look at this part and have a very separate call on this specific aspect also. So the reason is that, as you can see, currently DAO manager can do all this training and all, but currently how we designed is that it will be reading the post that has been created, the events that has been created, any courses that has been created, and all those aspects. And based on it, it trying to make sense of all those content and all. By making this integration, you mean to say that, let's say that if we do an integration with Miro board, you will be attaching a JSON file, and you expect the AI to read this JSON file so that in near future, if you ask some questions, or if you want to have this as a future reference of what happened at this part, what happens in next dashboard and all, you will be going to ask this question, or you just want to, uh, what kind of use case will be based on this JSON file? I mean to say, if there is something for AI.
well, we, for example, one thing, well, I don't know how good can AI be, but to me, this is all a data source. So if I would ask an AI, what is like what kind of risks were discussed about this proposal, and then you prompt that from AI, then AI will look all the Google Sheets, all the different integrations, And from Miro board JSON file, he finds out like, oh, there was, and he knows that, okay, the file name was that proposal, what was talked about, and it has a sticky note called risks, which was connected with these elements. So then it can like pull out these components. That would be my like idea. Will it work like that? Will the AI understand the like a JSON structure and able to kind of pull it out? Or if it's fine, if it's even to able to spit the JSON file back with just that small piece of where these risks are connected with something. Like there are many ways, and they not work and requires like different training altogether. So yeah, you're right. All of these integration may require additional meetings to go deeper in, but because right now we are in this level of writing proposals or like ideating proposals, we don't really have to figure out how exactly we will do that. And we don't even have to decide to do Miro board integration. That is just one feature we can offer. And over the long period of like getting all of these different options and strategies, how to approach building that platform and the solutions on top of them and the features, then we kind of select one or two or like very few of them to create the proof of concept. So yeah, like how exactly, yeah, will probably would be needed if we start diving down the Miro board. But right now we could remove that because based on the heat map, only I was probably interested in this. Although technically I see there in the community call, there was actually more votes on Miro board.
Understood. Understood. So now I have this overall understanding of this. So now how this AI will help, let's say, an admin to understand more about this proposal. Like you mentioned that if we want to critique about this proposal, what are the challenges? So how would AI help us understand this part of what is the challenges in this proposal uh, in the use case in this scenario?
One thing we need to separate out, that this proposal we are talking about is not specialized on the fact on how to write proposals. Although the idea of the AI is to, if we are using these mini proposal workshops themselves, we upload this video to the AI and it will able to answer you the questions you ask me. And instead of me giving one-to-one workshops or links to videos, people could prompt that AI to ask these questions and they will get back that information what I'm providing in like voice right now.
So how does this relationship between Cardano Singularity Net works in this manner? Because I see that the proposal goes to Cardano, but they can go through you or Singularity Net so that they can be more effective in making these proposals, or you can guide them that these are the problems that are existing and these are the solutions that might be looking for and all. So that's how this works, or is there any other missing part that I'm not able to understand yet?
I'm mentioning that, Daolens, because the split is just changing the problem statement, like a sustainable open source community infrastructure. And to me, Daolens is that. And that provides an AI tool to automate meeting documentation and retrieve insights. Right now, you don't automate meeting documentation, but I noticed you already somewhat have few features about retrieving insights. So if you're able to kind of get some collaboration, building that infrastructure and meet somewhere in the middle where we could build a component that is able to work with meetings and people can just join Daolens and they have a meeting video and they just had like a call they upload the video there, or they upload it to YouTube and provide the link to that, and then they basically included more data into their dashboard, so to say. And they can also,
Yes.
and another option is like, can you make it public, so that I would want to put all these mini proposal workshops out to the website, including all the Swarm sessions we had. So if you see in the, not just Swarm sessions, but all these videos about anything like mesh, open source developer tools, governance discussions, like there's a lot of educational stuff. Wow. All the other ideas other people are suggesting, Catalyst Circle versions. Oh no, this is candidates. Okay, so it's also governance, but we have IDFS information too here, like everybody else who pitches ideas, and we can serialize that audio into text and use that text to train the AI to know what's happening in Catalyst community. And
Correct.
If somebody asks the question, hey, I have this solution idea, or I have this problem statement, there is high chance that this has been answered, or there is already somebody providing a service on that, but it just doesn't come up that often because people maybe go to the Discord, they share, and it may get lost, but somebody sees, provides some information already, and then another person who has maybe better information is like, okay, it's already answered, and doesn't. So AI would be able to kind of aggregate and give all of these options, like, oh, this, you connect to these people, and basically be the middleman of the community manager in that sense. But another side is make it more practical, not just to help communities, because I think this is not that difficult to kind of create an assistant. Well, yeah, it is difficult if you put the YouTube in, but there are like other means how you can create like more like lower hanging fruits, AI assistants. But what I like about like the direction of discussions we have in these meetings is how do we make AI assistant for the special people, like special in a sense, like those who facilitate, so that, for example, I could ask the AI to, based on the information you have gathered in these 3 sessions, which is the most like feature, or like which direction AI assistants would suggest, and can you provide the strategies based on the information we have provided so far? And it kind of creates you the solution sets already on the fly as we go in the Miro board. Another option which we discussed about what is decision items and action items. So one example, we in governance school, we always rotate our like note taking, and we have all the files, but at least I am not rarely go back in all of these meeting notes. And now we're over the months of doing like discussions and decisions, we are now coming back. Did we decide on that on a few months ago? And some changes happen, and instead of combing through all of these ways how we kind of documented stuff, would be nice if you could simply ask an AI, what is the state of this action? Like, what did we make any decisions, and how, like, basically ask AI as like a project manager of like what to do next, or something like that, and then it's able to provide. Or even something simpler, that meeting is over, we drop it into the dashboard, we click the button, and we already have pre-configured all the outputs that are needed, like calendar meetings pop up based on what we discussed. Let's say I say to you that in 1 hour we have another meeting in Catalyst Town Hall where community from the Catalyst are joining to discuss these topics. Could you make a notification to all the like mini proposal workshop roles in Discord? Or like, well, Oh,
Correct.
and then after the meeting, there is just these action items are listed in the report. So there is not a person who has to take notes while they are working, but they can also participate and later just trust the AI to do the full analysis of what are all the action items, all the decision items. And once we get kind of that first documentation out of our meetings, we can start thinking about triggers and more features on top of that. Okay, now you said this action item was to summarize these meetings, or create a new plan for this workshop, or I don't know, notify these people, or create these channels in Discord, and you have basically specialized buttons to execute, like, yeah, I'm okay, and AI will actually do all of that to yourself. So creating this flow of working together with AI and finding things that we feel now repetitive to do, but AI could help on that. And then offering that all these services to everybody. So everybody has an AI assistant, basically.
Correct. This is interesting because we are kind of working on this specific problem statement. One of which is sending right kind of notification on Discord about certain event, or summarizing conversation which is happening within Discord and putting it right here, or vice versa, or helping people to gather information, like you mentioned, that if there is already existing discussion been done or something which has been done as a service or whatever, if somebody is looking for answers, it can guide them that this discussion has already been done here, and here is the quick snippet of it, and you can read further about it. So that is something which we are trying to work upon. So this is glad that this kind of aligns us that we are going in kind of correct direction. But what I believe is that uh, one part of AI that you have mentioned is like taking meeting notes. It basically it will be like a different AI that is will be working and taking notes, and then it can create some kind of post or something which on this dashboard. Are we looking at, let's say, that three, four different kind of AIs in this? One AI would be which is something similar to currently Otter AI or some other AIs are doing, which basically records conversations and tries to make sense of what is happening and creates quick summary of this meeting and action items. And there could be uh, uh, yeah, that is the one thing that is coming to my mind. But I think we will love to work on this also aspect of how we can make live meetings also enabled with AI on how to take notes in the right direction, and making it as a keeping it as a resource hub, educational hub, so that people who are asking relevant questions, we can direct them that this is what happened in this XYZ meeting, where you can just review that part as an information, or you can contact Tivo because he was expert in this specific conversation, so he can guide you for the next step. Or this is what Tivo had said. So yes, in short, yes. But I think what the best step would be that uh, I need to get Mukund and Pritesh in our call. I'll just go through this workflow and let them also go through this workflow, and then we can have more detailed oriented call and discussion on this aspect. Uh, uh, would love to understand that in this workshop, that is today's workshop, what else is that you teach generally? Means because the agenda of today's call was to have this mini proposal workshop. So, is there any certain step that I am missing here, which is important from your side, or you haven't covered it yet?
I know. I probably don't tell a lot, but I don't know either what should have been shared extra. Well, today's meeting, as all these mini proposal workshops now are all focused on figuring out how to make a best possible pitch or and proposal to solve disseminating and documenting meetings are time-consuming activities. So these are like our direction. And right now we are in the stage where we are trying to scope down. So yes, all of these things are cool, what we could do. And now we found out that you already have something to start with. So we may not have to start from dashboard. And we just need to figure out, is there a specific feature we should work on? Like what would sell the solution to the voter so that they vote for us and that we could get funded, we could deliver on what's promised and come again with another component. And because in order to effectively solve this problem statement, we need all of these components. But in order to do all these components, it requires a lot of time and like a lot of resources in order to even describe that. So I'm trying to kind of scope down and see if we select a specific AI bot, or we talk about educating people or community, or we only target how to do training data and like make it very simple for the users to basically train AI and how to collect the data, and use and create proposal only around that. So if we would do community collaboration, we might necessarily use AI, and if we use it's really ad hoc way. And if you do community collaboration, we may not do very in-depth training data. Maybe somebody does it properly, but it's still like an ad hoc solution to the community collaboration. So having like basically a proof of concept of one component of this huge family, although we are as strategically already taught that we need this big vision too. So that as we doing these workshops and we kind of pulled our reputation that we had the knowledge, we can pull this entire stuff. Unfortunately, in order to pull that, we need $500,000. And if you don't, but that is something that is not coming so lightly, and so that's why we kind of component it down and see if there are ways that we can do it chunk by chunk. So every 3 months we ask $50,000 or $100,000, or like split it into different components that if you're like able that we have 4 different proposals and which each is like 50,000 each, which could get like started on us. And as we build it and show the results, our feasibility will skyrocket, the less we have to kind of go in depth when describing how do we provide that solution, the easier time we will have to kind of increase our scope of the solution we're providing.
Definitely. So if you zoom in into it, I can tell you that which of the things that currently we are kind of experimenting as a use case. One is to it will help users to create their proposal. So the flow that you have designed and all, maybe you could train our AI to understand this concept of what is the best proposal would look like and what are the key information or important feature needs to be there and you need to put in. And it can guide users to have these things to add in your proposal so that uh, this is the missing and important features that you should add and all those things. So helping create the proposal is something that could happen. Knowledge gathering and creating insights is something that we are already doing it. It needs to be trained on more content and data so that it can be more accurate as per the community. And another thing is to help any user to understand any discussion and proposals and ask relevant question on this part. So what I mean by that is that the way you mentioned that people should be able to find content based on intent, that is what I'm meaning to say. But in your respect, uh, the training data part, how can we do this training, let's say, of making an effective proposal, that one part. Do we have enough resources on that part in terms of content, or do you have certain parameters that these are the things that we should cover in all the proposal for this XYZ community or any community?
Mm, well, from the training data part, the first, to me, if we would scope down to this particular aspect, I see it as an more like an educational course, like a workshop, like a, I don't know, $50,000, I guess would be enough to build a course around teaching how to train data, what kind of data it is, what are the risks, what are the concerns, and where could you find that data, and how do you kind of curate it, how do you clean it, and then once you get that part, then you go to the technical stuff, and like I don't remember how the do well how it was, but there was like these three basically steps that okay, once you have the clean data, then you kind of do this, I don't know, that flattening and basically yeah, should start using the algorithms or the components, the models on that data. And then you have this another step where you evaluate the data. And some models are kind of like doing it automatically. Some are like reinforcement learning that you kind of manually kind of show the direction is it going through. So I see the training data part to be something where we educate all of these areas. How would you put it together? And then perhaps have some also an UI front end where they can know their concept, but not having to like build it all together, but able to simply just upload or fill the table or the data and basically Mitch, and I guess best perhaps is to be as what was that name? Weights and biases. Like for example, teaching how to use this model perhaps as a like an advanced model on top. So yeah, where there was. So yeah, to me, I feel like training data could be some kind of educational stuff and understanding how to train and why and what are the like downsides of that and where do you kind of see the bias in it. To me, Daolens is an organization that is building an open source infrastructure where decentralized organizations could use and leverage AI to kind of like improve their workflows between communities and between themselves. And from here side, from this workshop side, the intent of this, we are writing a proposal to do exactly that. The solution you're already providing, we're writing proposal for that. However, we do scope it down because the high level is too big of a scope. So we now are in the stage where what we are trying to do is figure out where is Daolens right now with their feature sets, what directions they are taking, and what directions they would like the community to take, or what or choose, like maybe there are directions which are we aligned and we can just work together on that. So if you have future plans, you could break that future plan here, and then we see if the community also likes this direction, finds it feasible, and then we can turn it into a detailed plan of a proposal plan, which has all the relevant information how to execute it.
So we're hoping to piece together a bunch of open source solutions into our solution and figure out what that type of relationship looks like and partnership looks like with these open source communities, and how can we sort of contribute and I don't know, back and forth, and what does that relationship look like is sort of what I'm looking forward to try and do.
What I wanted to understand further is that in terms of feature wise, you are building a lot of things, And now the important piece where you depended on is that how we can make sure that these certain features that has been mentioned by Chivo here, like exporting, integrating, and this AI part, that is the essential piece that needs to work on, and you can build something on top of it. Am I right? And which part, which something that you need us to prioritize if there is something in apart from this one?
Yeah, great questions. It is kind of tough to answer, and I'm not entirely sure what that relationship looks like and how can we, because what does our tool look like in tandem with all these open source solutions? Just at a high level, and I'm going to try to keep it brief. The main pillars we're looking at is knowledge management, community collaboration, and the AI component. The community collaboration is like consists of governance, consensus, gated access, NFT tokens, identity tokens, reputation system, learning management system. That all falls underneath community collaboration. Then on the knowledge management is similar to what Tivo described, where you have a ChatGPT-like transformer model that's interacting with your database, so you can just extract valuable insight from this massive database. That's the other component. And so it's really piecing together open source solutions that are out there, maybe for the voting that happens, and then the consensus. And Daolens has a lot of tools. You're checking a lot of the boxes off of what we're trying to build, essentially. So how can we sort of leverage each other, or I don't really know what that relationship looks like, but that's my intention somewhat, and what do you guys need from us and all that kind of stuff.
All right, guys, take care. This was a good chat. A lot of things for me that I need to review on, so I'll just get on it and see you soon.
I will then also call it an end of today's session. I feel like that was a nice. We don't have a title, but I will probably title it a bit of input to the stakeholder network. We may have to take this again, because now I am at least seeing a bit more more structure in a sense of communities, or like social infrastructure that would put together this kind of service. And yeah, like first thing what comes up for mind is like Daolens coming with expertise of already in use, Insight IQ coming with expertise to build the solution even further and take it to the next level. Kimba Labs coming with language models and like community collaboration, and also Swarm could help to support that kind of relationship between all of these stakeholders. And that would be that close network of stakeholders to build this feature set for all the communities. And
Wow,
thanks for
that
watching.
is aptly put.
Thanks for participating. See you in the next session.